rules alcohol in a chart. So what would you say rules alcohol in a chart? Anybody? Who said Neptune? Good for you, you get a star on your head. Okay, Neptune, of course it does. And it rules anything that is of a sleeping inducing drug. What else would be in the drug category would be ruled by Neptune? Opiates, very good, very good. Barbara, you're sharp. No, I've listened to her. I was watching her interact with the students. I'm more impressed all the time. Anyway, enough of that. So the other side of it is, what about the drugs that are not sleep-inducing drugs? What do you think rules that? Huh? What'd you say? Yeah. Good, I like that. Uppers.
Would it be Jupiter?
No?
Uranus?
Good girl. Uranus.
Uranus.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of those designer drugs. That's all that New Age stuff. Design. We'll make our own stuff, right?
Ecstasy.
You know, there you go. That's all Uranus, okay?
And that's Aquarius.
No, that'd
So
be
they're
maybe.
drawn to
I think
psychedelic.
that'd be next.
Very good, very good. You're starting to think astrology. So it rule those things, and it also rules the psychedelics, okay? The New Age stuff. That's all. I'm really not down on psychedelics. I mean, you know, everything's classed as drugs. You know, this is all bad for you. You know, I've never believed. I believe that there's a place for, just like mescaline and magic mushroom. They've been used for centuries, and if I told you what I know about early Christianity, you know, the Christians would kill me. They'd hate to hear me say it. Yeah. Well, the early Christians, I'll say it up here and on the record, early Christians were mushroom cultists. The reason they were persecuted by the Romans was because of their use of the mushroom, sacred mushroom. And in fact, if you doubt that, I can prove it almost to you. I mean, if you read, there's a book out by it's called The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross. It's by Allegro, and he was one of the top 10 scholars that worked on the Dead Sea Scrolls, interpreting them and trying to figure out what they meant, putting them all together, remember? So anyway, he wrote a book called The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, and he reveals the truth. One of the reasons why the Christian community has kept these Dead Sea Scrolls under wraps and never wanted them published was because they didn't want people to know what they really had in them. Because they thought they had a great archaeological discovery that was going to reveal all the things they believe about the Bible and about, you know, the early Christians. Well, it revealed things they'd rather you didn't know. And one of them is that they were mushroom cultists. Now, it's interesting, you read the scriptures, and they were being persecuted by the Romans, so they wrote cryptically. And there's a lot of things if you read in the Bible, you read where it says, and the angel did instruct me to eat of the pages of the book, and I would be taken up into prophecy, and I would go prophesy unto Israel. What is the pages of a book? You ever turn a mushroom over and look at underneath the mushroom? It looks like the pages of a book, right? They didn't want to be discovered for what they were writing, so they would always write these things cryptically. And I ate them, and it was bitter to my stomach, sweet to my mouth, bitter. I forget which it says. And immediately I was taken up into prophecy, and I did prophesy. This is all mushroom, sacred mushroom. I also tell a story about Saul, who was the persecutor of the Christians. Okay, Saul was one of the major men. He was against all the Christians. He was going after them and capturing them and bringing them in, throwing them into the lions and everything else they did at these big stadiums. They would bring them in and use them to entertain people as they killed them. But Saul was his name, and yet he raided a Christian party, and then he ended up going out into the desert, and he was struck down blind, it said. And I want you to think about this whole story. He was struck down blind, and he hears God speak to him, says, Saul, Saul, why dost thou persecute me so? And he becomes one of the greatest Christians. His name now becomes Paul, and he goes out in support of the Christians. Well, what I believe happened, okay, again, this is my belief. When he raided that Christian party, he ate something that was there that had that mushroom in it. And he ate it, and what happened, he goes out in the desert. Now, he didn't have sunglasses back then, so he's out in the desert, and what happens? Gets struck down blind, his eyes dilated. Hallucinogenics. And he hears God speak to him. Okay? Wow.
But then he had to go visit some man, I can't remember where he was, to heal him.
Yeah.
Someone brought him to, I forget who song it was, and this man, you know,
I don't remember the name,
I don't remember the name, I know the story.
Yeah. You know, there's so much more to scriptures, you know. I believe the early Christian, I think the disciples understood hypnosis very well. I think I shared the story with you about the man that was healed, and I think it was Paul. Yeah, it was Paul. It was Paul, and Paul beheld him with steady gaze, and said, "Your sins are forgiven you. Get up and walk."
Yeah.
And then, okay, why do you think it said it? And he beheld him with steady gaze, because Paul was looking into his soul. He was, I believe, you know, if I hypnotized you, I would do what? I'd have you look in my eyes, and I'd talk you into a state where I could commune right with your subconscious mind. All right? You see, the conscious mind has a short attention span. Did you know that? Your teachers, you need to know it. It's very short. If you're lucky, if you got a 10-minute attention span with the conscious mind. If a speaker's keeping your attention over 10 minutes, he's getting beyond the surface of the conscious mind. And he's communing with you on a deeper level, like you were talking about. And you're getting a message on a level that's keeping your attention. Otherwise, you won't stay inattentive. Anyway, enough of all this. Let's keep moving a little bit here. Astrology, my gosh. My problem is I like to tell stories. All right, here we go. All right. So the four triplicities, okay? We were talking here about the what? We're talking about the social, the air, the Gemini, the Libra, the Aquarian, the very social signs. You got a lot of planets in those signs. We know what it means. Also, don't ever forget this.